While driving, the man noticed that there were no cars in front of him, but a large truck was driving slowly. Angry, he stepped on the gas and passed it. However, less than a minute later, the truck honked its horn angrily and passed him. This moment left Mike speechless. Seeing that he was going to be late for work, Mike had no choice but to pass the truck again. When the guy saw that he wanted to overtake, he also changed lanes and even started driving in an S shape. He just wouldn't let Mike overtake. Seeing the other guy deliberately blocking his way, Mike instantly realized that he had encountered a road rage incident. For safety's sake, Mike had no choice but to follow behind. Just then, the truck driver reached out his hand from the window and signaled to Mike that he could overtake. Mike thought it was a kind gesture, but in the next second, a car came speeding down the opposite lane and nearly collided head-on with his car. Mike finally realized he was dealing with a madman and had no choice but to slowly follow behind the truck. But the more Mike thought about it, the angrier he got. As he saw a fork in the road ahead, Mike suddenly turned the wheel and sped onto the fork, overtaking the truck on the road. Finally, he got rid of that annoying guy. After driving forward for a while, Mike turned on the radio and felt at ease. But just then, a loud roar suddenly came from behind. The truck was speeding toward him, and the guy kept honking his horn. Mike immediately stepped on the gas pedal, determined not to let that guy overtake him. However, he underestimated the truck's horsepower. Even when he pressed the accelerator to the floor, the truck could easily catch up to him. As the horn blared, Mike refused to move out of the way, which caused the truck to bump into the back of his car. As a jolt of force hit him, Mike's hair stood on end. Seeing a service area ahead, Mike made a reckless decision. He drifted into the sand. Although the truck didn't follow him, Mike sprained his neck. Now he just wanted to get out of the car and calm down. He then walked to the restaurant across the street. He went to the bathroom to wash his face. However, to his surprise, when he returned, he found that the truck was parked on the road. Seeing that the driver's seat was empty, Mike immediately looked around in all directions. He noticed that something was wrong with the cowboy. Mike thought about apologizing to him, but there were too many people around, and he felt embarrassed. Sue, the cowboy finished his break and left. Unfortunately, that guy wasn't the truck driver. At that moment, the truck driver left. Angry, Mike rushed outside without saying a word, but the truck driver didn't even want to deal with him. He stepped on the gas and drove away. Only then did Mike realize that he might have been overthinking things. The truck driver wasn't targeting him. He had just stopped to rest by the roadside. Then he stepped on the gas and drove away, but soon he was stopped by a barrier. It turned out that a train was passing by. He had to wait for the train to leave before he could continue. But just as Mike was patiently waiting, the rear of his car was suddenly hit. He turned around and was stunned. The truck was accelerating and ramming his car, as if it wanted to kill Mike. To survive, he had no choice but to slam on the brakes, but as the truck continued to accelerate, the car was still uncontrollably heading toward the train. Mike had no choice but to step on the brakes hard. As the train left the tracks, he turned the wheel and drove toward a dirt embankment. Only after the truck had driven far away did he dare to return to the road. This time, he dared not provoke the truck again.